Today, there's something huge that's making waves across the nation. And it's all centered around Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and his legal journey, especially with recent developments from a foreign delegation. You might have heard the headline that recently made the rounds. U.S. delegation arrives in Sokoto prison to meet Nnamdi Kanu. Now, this isn't just a small story. It's a big one, packed with political undertones and deep implications. For those of you who may not be so familiar with this name, Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, better known as IPOB. He's been a figure at the heart of controversy in Nigeria for quite some time. Kanu's supporters see him as a hero for the Biafra cause, fighting for the independence of the southeastern region of Nigeria, while his critics view him as a threat.
I am here to visit
destabilizing force.
Nnamdi Kanu.
Kanu was arrested in 2021 in a dramatic turn of events that sparked protests, violence, and fierce public outcry. After his arrest, he was brought before the courts on charges of terrorism and felony offences related to his role in the Biafra movement. In 2025, the court handed down a life sentence, and Kanu was sent to
Americans
Sokoto
there visiting him. I mean, Americans of Igbo descent. One of them is Evans Nwankwo,
now,
the chairman
what makes
of
this story interesting today?
Ambassadors.
Well, earlier this week, a U.S. delegation led by Lady Blessing Ijoma Hunt arrived at the Sokoto prison, and they had a direct meeting with Nnamdi Kanu. This delegation wasn't just any group. It included
Americans,
Dr. Sylvester Onya,
veterans,
president of the American Veterans of Igbo descent,
they were there,
and
they got
Mr.
there
Evans
about
Nwankwo,
an hour before me,
the chairman of Ambassadors for
had fun with
These are
Onyendu.
not
I was
small
very
names.
pleased
They
to help
represent important
Onyendu
groups in the US
for
that
real
have
life.
human rights,
Onyendu is
particularly
alive and
regarding
well
people
in
of
high
Igbo
spirits.
descent.
Although
So
the environment is
why should
not
we care
very
about a delegation
conducive,
from the United
but
States
he's
visiting
telling us to be patient,
in a Sokoto prison?
that he will be okay.
Well, first off,
he is the prisoner, but he's telling us to
US
be
has been
patient.
keeping a close eye
So
on
that's
this case.
to show you that he's not only
There's been
interested in
pressure from
himself,
international
but in
human
all
rights
of
groups
us.
to ensure that Kanu's treatment is
So
fair,
the
especially
next
since his
day,
arrest was highly
we
publicized.
planned to, he
There were
invited me
claims
to
of
come the
rights
next
abuses,
morning.
including
When we
his
got there
external
the next morning, myself and
For
the
many
two
people,
gentlemen,
these delegations visits
Dr. Sly
international
and
interest
Evans Nwankwo, we were there.
It raises questions not only about Kanu's
But
issue,
surprisingly,
also
we
about
met
the Nigerian government
at the gate the comptroller of prisons.
Let's not forget.
And they told us that we were not allowed to go in today.
Blessing Ijoma,
They didn't give us any reason, but he is supposed to use his discretion to allow us in. However, he insisted that we were not going in. It took somebody like my brother Fineboy to make phone calls to different zones, even FCT, for them to allow us to go in. However, by the time the calls were completed, Dr. Sly and Evans Nwankwo had already left. So I was able to go back the second time. And today again, this morning, I was able
in Nigeria
to go
over the issue of
my
Biafra's
flight
independence.
that is scheduled for
The separatist
4 o'clock. I'm hearing now that it's
led by
cancelled,
Kanu and IPOB
but
has been
I will find
growing
a way
steadily in
to
recent
get
years.
out of here.
Supporters argue that
They
the
will.
southeastern region, which they believe
Indeed,
has
I
been
am to say
politically
today,
and
for the
economically
simple reason that she has no
deserves
jurisdiction
its
to
own
try me.
nation.
None
On the
whatsoever.
other hand,
I came out
the
of
Nigerian
courtesy and
government
respect.
insists that Biafra
She stands
remains
recused
a
from
part
my
of the
case
country.
and cannot try my
Determined
case.
to prevent any
There are
actions
things that are happening in this country that a lot of you do not know.
So Kanu's
It
case
is
has
my
become
duty
a
to make
symbol
that very, very
of
clear
this
to all of you today.
Every development, every visit,
Because the lies are too
especially
much.
from people outside Nigeria,
The lies are
adds
too
more
much.
fuel to the fire.
I sent a petition to NJC. I don't want to talk about it.
For the future.
Justice Binta
It's still
Nyako
early days, but this visit
is using her position for personal gain.
it signals that the Djibouti
For personal gain.
has become that government and
Her
its
son and
allies
her husband
are
are
continuing
facing
to take a
corruption
strong
charges.
interest in Kanu's case.
And
This
they
could put
told
more
them,
immediate pressure on
they
the
told
Nigerian
them
government detour
They
them
told
to
them
rethink their stance on how
that if
Kanu
they
is
convict
treated,
me,
and to possibly
this is what
reconsider
this
the
is
way
what
they
happens.
approach the
You
entire
can see.
issue of self-determination
They don't want the truth to
movement.
come out. Nobody wants the truth to come out.
Its cause is another
Nobody
question
wants the truth to
entirely.
come out.
But rest assured,
Nobody wants
this
the
is
truth to come out in
definitely not the
Nigeria.
last we're going to
That's the
hear
problem.
about this issue.
Who is that person?
Now,
Corruption charges.
let's take
They
a step
sent
back
her to my case
and
so
look
they
at the
can
broader
release or
implications. These kinds
smoothing
of
the
high-profile
pathway
visits do not
for the
happen
husband and the
without
son.
serious political
They are facing.
calculations.
It doesn't matter.
What does it say about Nigeria's
in a corrupt society? That's what
relationship with
happens.
the US,
They are very, very
especially when
corrupt.
it comes to dealing with matters like
That is
human
a
rights
breach of
and
judicial
political
oath.
freedom?
They have violated
We've
the
seen
judicial oath.
sharp increase
They
in
have shown
international
bias according to
pressure
Supreme Court.
on the Nigerian
They are biased
government
against
in
you.
recent years,
Supreme Court
particularly
said
when
so.
it comes to issues involving human
And
rights
that is
abuses,
why what is
political
happening
prisoners,
in the
and
judgments and rulings
controversial
concerning
detentions.
has been happening.
The Nigerian government has to carefully consider how it responds
Disobedience
to
to
these
superior court
delegations' visit.
Supreme
Will
Court
they
said
treat
you
this
are
as a
biased.
diplomatic opportunity to
You are
open
against this
discussions,
man.
or
You
will they
should not
view
have-
it
you
as
should not have
foreign
got his bail.
interference,
Nigeria went
which
to
could
Kenya and
escalate
kidnapped
tensions
him.
with Western powers?
These things are in the
That's
public
something to
domain.
keep an eye on
Why,
in the coming
therefore,
weeks.
are they insisting on
On
trying
the
me?
flip side, there are many Nigerians who view this visit as a positive development, especially those in the southeastern
That
part
she
of the
is
country
no
who
more-
continue to fight for the independence of Biafra.
That she is no more.
They see this
going
as
to
a
try
form
me.
of
Why are they insisting?
solidarity,
Why are they insisting? I ask.
an international
Because they
movement
have no
coming
case
to their
against me.
side to support their cause.
They have no case
They
against me.
believe that if this pressure continues, it could
What's your name?
force the
My name
Nigerian
is
government to
Blessing
reconsider
Jam.
Kanu's situation
Why are you here in Sokoto?
and maybe
I am
even
here
pave
to
the way for its
visit
eventual release.
Nnamdi Kanu,
However,
prisoner
not
of
everyone is
conscience
on board with
at
this.
Sokoto prisons.
Critics of Kanu's movement,
Did you see
aid staff,
I
argue
did
that
see
he is
him
being treated
The
fairly
first
under the
day
law,
when I
and
arrived,
that these international delegations
barely
cannot be
20
more than
minutes after
distraction.
they
They say the
allowed
focus should
me
be on
in,
restoring
we were
peace
asked to leave.
and unity.
Fortunately,
In Nigeria,
there were
not
two
pushing for
other Americans
For them,
there
visits like the
visiting
one made by
him.
Lady
I mean,
Jones
Americans of Igbo descent. One of them
But
is
as we stand
Evans
today,
Nwangwu,
one thing
the
is
chairman
clear.
of
This is if story that
ambassadors
is not
for
going to go
self-determination.
away anytime soon.
Another person,
So,
Woro,
Whether you agree with Kanu's
Dr.
stance or not,
Sylvester
the fact
Onya,
remains that his case represents a broader
or
issue,
the
one that
president
touches on Nigeria's
for
future, its
Americans,
unity, its relationship with the outside world,
veterans
and its commitment
of
to
Igbo
human
descent.
rights and the rule
So
of
they
law.
were there.
So, if
They
you're following
got
this,
there
make sure to
about
stay
an
tuned,
hour
because
before me,
there's bound
and
to be
they
more
had
news
had fun
as
with
this
Onyendu. I was very
situation
pleased to hug Onyendu
Now, before
for
I
real
go,
life.
if you're
Onyendu
enjoying
is
this
alive
discussion,
and well
want to
in
stay
high
up to date
spirits.
with
Although the
real-time
environment
stories
is
like
not very
this,
conducive,
like this
but
video.
he's telling us to be
And make sure
patient,
to subscribe to
that he will be okay. He is a prisoner, but he's telling us to be patient. So that's to show you that he's not only interested in himself, but in all of us.
Let's not forget the power of
So the next
international
day,
solidarity.
we planned to,
No
he
matter the
invited
politics
me to
behind
come
it,
the next
When a
morning.
foreign group
When
comes
we
to
got
meet with
there the
someone
next
at the
morning,
center
myself
of controversy,
and the two
it adds
gentlemen,
weight to the argument.
Dr. Sly and Evans Nwangwu, were there.
There's no sugar coating it.
But surprisingly, we met at the gate the comptroller of prisons, and they told us that we were not allowed to go in today. They didn't give us any reason, but he is supposed to use his discretion to allow us in. However, he insisted that we were not going in. He took somebody like my brother Fineboy to make phone calls to different zones, even FCT, for them to allow us to go in. However, by the time the calls were completed, Dr. Sly and Evans Nwangwu had already left.
Listen to a prophecy, and the man of God said that this year, 2026, Nnamdi Kanu will be released. They are just trying to play politics with whatsoever that is going on. The only thing I just pray and I wish the federal government should do the needful and release him. At the point yesterday, I was asking myself, everybody has forgotten Nnamdi Kanu. I thank God I came across this video, and I know the people are not totally forgotten or leave him there in prison. There are people who are still fighting secretly that you don't know. We pray for his release. We pray for God's intervention. There is nothing that is too difficult for God to do. But with God, all things are possible. He's not fighting for himself. He's fighting for the freedom of his people. Please, make sure you subscribe to this channel and may God bless you. Share.